Hey guys, we're going to be in Luke chapter 6, verse 7. Luke chapter 6, verse 7. It says this: "And the scribes and Pharisees watched him whether he would heal on the Sabbath day, that they might find an accusation against him." The Pharisees were about that. Now, I want to back up for 60 seconds and just say this, all right? The Pharisees, we hear an awful lot about the Pharisees, and man, they were a wicked group in the sense that, but they were supposed to be a faith-based group. But I want you to understand something. They had seen, I'm not trying to defend them, but I'm trying to put it in context. They had seen many, many people come and try to and claim to be God. They had seen it over and over again. And they had seen the chaos that ensues when somebody does that. That people would follow them, that people would, that people would believe that they, that they were the one that had been promised in the Old Testament and such. And so they had seen all this chaos. So they were kind of tired of all this garbage. And even if they had not seen it, they had heard about it or read about it in different revolts and all kinds of things like that. So when Jesus, the true Messiah, comes on the scene, it's like, this is just another cat. This is just another cat. All right. But in the midst of all that, their hearts were also wicked. Their hearts were wicked in the sense that in the sense that they were all about these ceremonial things, all of this stuff that we're doing. This is what's important. It's not important to have this strong relationship with God. It's important that you not wash your hands on this day, and you don't do this on that day, and you don't this. And they were all about just holding people down by these, the letter of the law stuff, while they have wickedness in their own heart. Seriously, they would have their own list of things that these people had to do, and when they had to do it and why they had to do it, but yet inside of their hearts, they were wicked because they were looking for ways out themselves. And yet they were holding people to standards that were just crazy, instead of talking about the relationship with God and the closeness to God and walking with God. So verse 7, "And the scribes and Pharisees watched him," talking about Jesus, "whether he would heal on the Sabbath." So it didn't matter that he was healing people. All right. It didn't matter that people were, that were lame were walking. It didn't matter that people were blind were seeing. It didn't matter any of that. What they were worried about was the day he was doing it on. All right. And they had missed the whole idea of the Sabbath, which was made for man to rest. And it was a command from God for man to rest. And it was not in a sense a day that you couldn't heal, that you couldn't do for others. It was not meant to be something like that, where you could not even lift a finger. You could not even, you had to just basically just sit there. And they would hold you to that, man, and it would be a violation of the law, and if you did anything whatsoever. And so they were watching Jesus, and they were like, man, oh, listen, look at, we're going to see if he heals on the Sabbath. Doesn't matter that person's never walked before in their remembrance in their life. If he healed on the Sabbath, they were going to hold him to it, and they were going to crush him. So they needed an accusation against Jesus. They didn't believe he was the Messiah. They didn't believe he was the Son of God, and they wanted an accusation against him. They wanted to be able to, to point their finger at him and say, "You do not know the law. If you knew the law, you might be the Messiah if you understood and knew the law and taught the law. But instead, you're breaking the law." And Jesus was clear. He said, "I didn't come to break this law. I didn't come to abolish this law. I came to fulfill this law." And so walking in Jesus and walking like Jesus fulfills the entire law. But they were trying to find accusation against him. Don't be a Christian who's trying to find accusation against others. All right. Now, here's the thing. Do we have to point out wrong? Of course we do. Do we have to, discipline our children? Sure we do. Do we have to, within the church, do we have to have church discipline? Of course we do. That's not what I'm saying. But don't be somebody who finds accusation and problems with everything. You're not ever going to, if you're that type of person who your job is to find out why it will not work or why something won't work or to just get in the way or be an obstacle or anything like that, then friends, you are not in God's will, and you're not working toward the things that God is working toward. Okay. Sure. We need to look at things. We need to plan things, all those things like that. But if you're looking at somebody and saying, listen, they got saved and yet they, that little thing about them is just not right. Well, okay, maybe they need to work on that thing, but help them through it. Help them through it instead of accusing them, instead of looking for something that's just not right about somebody. How about look for the things that are right about somebody? Man, be a gold digger, not a gold digger in the sense that you want their money, but a gold digger in the sense that you're looking for the best things in somebody instead of looking for the worst things in somebody. Help them along, sure. Teach them, sure. but help them find the gold in everybody, find the good in somebody. See you guys. Bye-bye.